Come join us in our private Facebook community, The Essence of Homeschooling, where you can connect with like-minded individuals, share resources, and gain valuable insights from Colleen and our homeschool coaches. We can't wait to meet you. Hello, friend. I'm so glad you're here. Today, we're continuing our conversation from episode 7, where we talked about recognizing and dealing with homeschool burnout. During that discussion, we realized that we wanted to address coping skills for times of stress, burnout, or even just rough patches while homeschooling. Our conversation was lengthy, deeply personal, and got pretty raw. We want to keep our episodes concise and listener-friendly, so we've decided to break it into 2 parts. Here's part 1, and be sure to check back next week for part 2. So let's get into it.
Welcome to the Essence of Homeschooling podcast, brought to you by the umbrella school, Stateros Academy. We empower and equip you to cultivate the authentic homeschool lifestyle, where freedom and relationships rule.
So tonight we're going to talk about coping skills, but a lot of times the thought of even coping can be overwhelming when you're having a hard time coping. The thought of having another task to do or something else to keep track of each day, or having a journaling assignment or some other major project that you have to incorporate into your life, it's too much, especially just in a busy schedule to add something else to the mix. But when you're feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling like it's just difficult to keep going, you can't just add another big task. It's too much. Sometimes it's too hard. We're going to talk about coping skills tonight, but they're going to be super practical coping skills, mindset shifts that you can make, a lot of accepting of yourself and how you're doing and recognizing the reality without carrying guilt. We're going to get into these on different levels. There's mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. We're going to walk through those and we're going to talk about some of those things and about things that we've learned along the way that have helped us, that hopefully you can take into your life and that you can implement so that things can be a little bit easier for you to cope with, whether it's just a hard day and you're just feeling a little bit stressed, or whether you're in full-blown burnout, or if you're like me, I've really struggled with depression. That has been a big deal for me to have to navigate. We're going to talk about all those things. Let's start with physical, because I think that's the easiest, because sometimes when it's too much to deal with, too much to cope, too much overwhelm to overcome, sometimes it's easiest just to stand up and move and do some things. What are your favorite things physically to cope? We've talked about walks before. That was one thing that I had noticed that everybody who copes really well has in common at our daily walks you guys talk about.
Yes, we would often go to the park as well, meet some friends, hit the park. And also, this is a great time of year to hit even amusement parks and things like that. Just getting out, getting active, riding your bike, and doing things with your homeschool friends when it's not so crowded and it's not so hot.
Before the summer rush comes of kids,
Right.
Not all the kids are out of school. This is the prime time to go and do field trips.
And I was thinking too about I was thinking back when we were kids, what did we do? You build a fort, you climb a tree, you visit the pond, you learn how to go fishing, just getting out in nature in general, the hikes like we were talking about. And also taking advantage of city league sports. It feels like maybe it's one more thing to do to add to your list. But if you kind of think, well, I'm going to let other things go and let this be my PE and lean into that, that can be another way you can get some physical activity in. And also take advantage of your local gym. Maybe your kids are little and you need to use the childcare there so you can get the activity in for yourself. Or maybe your kids can do some things there, like they have gymnastics or whatever it might be.
Those are really big, especially utilizing the care so you can get exercise yourself when your kids are younger. Michelle, you had a story that you shared about an experience that you had about a run that was helpful. Do you want to share that again?
Sure. I just remember a time when my husband and I were not communicating well and were arguing a little bit. And I just kind of gave up. I said, I'm going for a run. And he goes, well, I'm coming too. And I was like, no, I do not want company. But we ended up running together, taking the jog together and just not talking to each other for a while. And then by the end of the run, we were laughing. So it was just something to blow off steam that helped a lot and to just change a venue. And I was never a big runner. He did cross country, but I wasn't on track. But I remember getting more into running once I had kids too, because at least I could get outside and put them in the jog stroller so that that I could move. There's something about putting a little one in a stroller so that they can look at the trees and hear the birds. And that's when we started discovering all of the construction trucks. And so my son knew all of the types of construction trucks. Just getting outside. For me, I need to exercise outside. I can't do it in a gym. So that's one thing I've learned. But I'm also the crazy type who will bundle up and go in 10 below to take a walk.
Do you have a dog that you walk, or do you just do it on your own?
No, I do it on my own. We don't have pets.
My dog would love to live in your house.
My kids would love for your dog to live in our house. Sadly, I cannot have a dog. But I mean, there's other things too, as we think about the physical side. Certainly here in Colorado, with elevation and the dryness, it's making sure you're hydrated because there's a lot of that. And I know hangry is a real thing, but dehydration's a real thing too. Are you getting enough nutrition and the proper nutrition and the proper water intake that just will help? And of course, we talk about sleep. I know sleep for me is not something I can control. And certainly moms of younger kids, you don't control that either. You just sleep when you can. But paying attention to those different aspects are helpful. I remember one time too, I really had to get into meal planning to plan ahead. And that during certain times of the day, I just had to say, this is when I'm making dinner so that at least I knew we were getting fed, and doing that ahead of time. Those were just little coping things I did.
So are you saying schedules and routines can help?
They can help, but I'm not very good with a schedule. I'm much better with a rhythm. And so I think you have to find what works best for you. For me, for the meal planning, I found I served my family better when I took the nap time to cook, or certain times of the day when they could be outside in the backyard, so that I could cook and get the meals done, because then I could play with them when they needed the interaction. That witching hour wasn't so terrible anymore because I'm a better mom if I plan ahead.
That's really true. It's not easy. And I think when we get so busy, it's really hard to do that. I'm thinking about my life, and there's too many times in the week where it's like, oh no, it's dinner time. I'm so shocked. I need to make dinner. What they need to eat? Or last minute, I'm like, hey, it's your night to cook to one of my boys. And they're like, why didn't you tell me before? That's like the real life skills, culinary skills, right? I dropped in on my middle son. He's 16 last week. I was like, I'm sorry, I'm running out the door. I got stuck on a meeting late. I have to go find something in the freezer. You can do this. You're a great cook. I can't wait to see what you put together. He did it. He did a great job, but that's really stressful. That's not the right way to handle it. I need to be better about planning and organizing so that everybody's at peace. Kids like to be able to say, hey, mom, what's for dinner? And actually get an answer. There's something. It's
Not
like a
cereal?
nurturing thing, right? Like it's, I know, no, but for a long time, I wouldn't even let them ask. I would say those are bad words, and anybody who asks me what's for dinner is volunteering to cook. It is pressure. And then they're going to complain, and somebody's not going to like it. Just sit down and you can eat it, or you can go hungry, whichever, but you have to at least show up to the table.
And by planning ahead, it kind of helps you figure out not only financially about meals and how you're going to budget for the week, but also nutritionally. Okay, I want to get a protein, I want to get a veggie, I want to get a fruit. That way you can plan it out, because man, when 5 o'clock rolls around, my brain goes out. I don't know, let's have some bread and some peanut butter. You know, for a lot of years, I did it faithfully because I felt like I had to. Now, when my kids are older, I don't. I never used to go shopping without a list. And now I just walk into the grocery store. I'm like, well, I need to get back to meal planning.
So we can effectively say routines and planning ahead is a good way of coping with the ups and downs proactively, maybe not reactively, because when you're feeling down, it's hard to do that, but that's something you can do proactively to take care of yourself in advance, because you do feel better when you have a plan. I don't think there's anybody in the world who can say, I feel a lot better when I don't know what's happening. I don't have a plan. I don't know what I'm going to do about it. And I'm going to figure it out on the fly and spend way more money than I want to spend. I don't think anybody feels that way.
Right. Or when you have a plan and yet you haven't thought about it. So then the chicken is still frozen.
Oh, do you live in my house?
Yeah.
Right.
Another thing our group did, a couple other families pretty consistently over the years, one family in particular, often we did meal swaps. And so we would each take a day separately on our own, or sometimes together even, and build meals like freezer meals, right? And we would always, of course, use disposable containers. And then one day we'd get together and do the meal swap. So our families would have something different to try, something new. Obviously, you have to take into account any kind of allergy, but that was kind of a fun thing that we were able to do. And we kind of made it fair because I only had 2 kids, but my friends had 5 or 6 kids. And we worked it out. We made a system that was fair for everybody. And it was a really fun thing to do that kept things mixed up and kind of interesting, and also took the pressure off, because I knew if all else fails, I can pull something out of the freezer. I at least have that. I really have to give a shout out to my friends Anna and Jessica, because they were the ones that really pulled me in and helped me flip my paradigm and showed me how to create community like that. And then we just built on that over the years. We still have just maintained friendships, to this day. And we would, over the years, different families would come and go in, in and out of the group, whether they moved into town or left town. And so we always had it open, and we would trade houses, and we would share times when we would all get together, but one mom had the day off, and all kinds of things like that. That's actually a great coping skill right there, because we knew we were in this together. We found our tribe. Not that we were all totally the same whatsoever, but we found our tribe. We had this group, met about once a week or so, and then there were always at least 2 of us, sometimes 3 or 4. And that way we would share the load, which is huge if you can share the load. And then one mom, at least once every other week, sometimes once a month, whatever it was, would get to go and have a day off and just sit and stare at the wall if that's what you want to do, or take care of what you need to take care of. And it was super, super helpful. Community is absolutely an important coping skill. We kind of talk about that sort of negative buzzword, socialization, in the homeschool world and all that. But honestly, we do need each other. We really do. And so it is important to find people that you can connect with and you can support, and they can support you too. And then later on, if bigger things happen in your life, you've got that support system that goes even that step further, like an extended family. So it's absolutely been super important for us. I highly recommend it.
And also, it's really important to note that it's not always just other homeschoolers. There was a single young woman that I was friends with first, but she did well with my whole family. So she would come over, and it lightened the whole atmosphere to have her over, and we would cook together and do things like that. And there's funny ones where we still have stories of people stirring. They're like, "Oh, I'm Emily now because I have to stir." Because one time we were trying to make risotto and it just took forever, and she just was stirring it the whole time. And so there's family jokes over the time together. So having single friends is also really important, especially as they can love on your kids in a different way.
It's such a good idea. I love that.
That's also the emotional coping, right? Is having community helps you, and the mental coping, because they can balance you and you can bounce ideas off of one another. They can tell you where you're like, okay, you're too high strung at the moment. You don't need to worry about that. That will come, just like the story with your friends with MOPS of these are the ways you can continue in homeschooling.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, connection with other people. Because when you're living in your own head and you're only hearing your own voice, you can really cause a lot of problems for yourself. And just feeling lonely like that, that's not good for anybody, to feel like you're in a vacuum and disconnected. You got to be able to share things with people, whether it's to be popped off a ledge or to be validated or just to be heard and understand. Everybody wants to be known and understood. That's a big thing about coping, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes too, it means, maybe you don't have anything necessarily naturally built in. You don't live somewhere where there are co-ops, or maybe you're not in a church group or something that has a bunch of kids. I always say, go to a park in the middle of the day, and if you see a family with kids, they're probably homeschoolers. Go ahead and just be brave and just maybe strike up a conversation. Do you guys homeschool? Just see if you connect. And if you do, great. And if you don't, that's okay too. No harm, no foul. You met somebody and you go on your way, or maybe you start something new and it turns into something really big. I think just having the courage to put yourself out there and just get to know people.
Are you looking for a supportive community to walk with you through your homeschooling journey? Look no further. Statheros Academy is your go-to umbrella school for fulfilling legal reporting requirements in Colorado. But what if you don't live in Colorado? We still serve you through our support tools and services. At Statheros Academy, we're not just another institution. We're your partners in education, providing comprehensive support services designed to empower, encourage, and equip you to be the best homeschool parent that your children deserve. teacher and student IDs, parent and professional evaluations, attendance logs, record-keeping services, DIY high school transcripts, or our official Homeschool high school transcript service produces personalized transcripts that highlight your students' unique accomplishments. High school diplomas celebrate your family's achievement when you successfully complete the adventure. Additionally, our experienced homeschool coaches provide one-on-one support throughout your journey. Custom tailor your homeschool support system by selecting one of our 3 enrollment packages based on your family's needs. This way, you can get exactly what you need to make the most of your homeschooling experience. We come alongside you in the way you want to be supported, whether that's the bare minimum or holding your hand each step of the way. The Umbrella School Statheros Academy provides what you want the way you want it. So why wait? Enroll with Statheros Academy today and unlock a world of possibilities for your homeschooling journey. Go to theumbrellaschool.com to learn more and sign up. We can't wait to serve your family.
So community really fits into like all the categories, actually.
I think so.
Physically getting together with other people, mentally having the mental stimulation of connecting with other people, emotionally feeling emotionally connected to other people, and spiritually fellowshipping with other people who share your beliefs. That's all really, really big deal. Look, it covers all 4. Okay, we're done.
That was
But-
easy.
But on the physical side, let's go through some practical things. What are physical ways that you can employ coping strategies when you're having a rough day? What are some of your go-to things? Going for a walk, getting some sunshine, vitamin D, drinking water. There's the box breathing. That's pretty well-known tactic where you breathe in for 4, hold it for 4, blow out for 4. That's the big deal. One that I love that I've used and that I've tried to get my kids to use, and they've done a pretty good job with it. It is physical and it's also mental. It's your 5 senses and you start with 5 and you say 5. I'm going to say 5 things I can see around me right now. I can see a computer screen. I can see my water bottle. I can see the light, a mouse, the microphone. 5 things. 4 things that I can touch. 3 things that I can taste. Maybe to taste and smell are kind of different. I like to save those for like number 1 or 2 because how many things, if I'm not in the kitchen, what can I taste? Well, maybe my chapstick or I don't know. You know what I mean? But because it sucks you into the moment, it grounds you, it takes you out of the chaos that you're feeling emotionally, mentally, and it makes you instantly go to reality. What's around me, what's real, what's physical that I can touch. I'm not getting carried away. I can be present right now. It grounds you very quickly. That's one that I love. That's physical. And then the breathing. What other physical things? Do you guys have any more?
Yeah, I was just hearing about one. I'm not an expert in any means in this area, but it's a technique where you tell the child, if the child is needing help coping, you look straight ahead, but you try to focus on what's in your peripheral vision. It has something to do with, I'm going to say the word wrong, so maybe somebody correct me, but it's something like an amygdala hijack. Am I saying that right?
Amygdala.
That's Thank you. That's it. So it gets hijacked, right? And that is one of the ways that you can self-regulate or help your child self-regulate. If you're feeling like all of a sudden, oh, my nerves are just shot, or I'm feeling overwhelmed, I need to calm down. Another kind of along the same lines of your breathing technique, things like that. So you look straight ahead, but you focus on what's in the peripheral. Interesting.
That's really cool. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
YouTube has a lot of videos that have breathing techniques for anxiety, breathing techniques to calm you down, to start your day. There's a lot of different breathing techniques. So in the moment, whatever you're struggling with, you could really quick Google YouTube video breathing anxiety, and it could take 4 minutes and do that. You could also do a yoga or a stretching video in the same vein. Just Google YouTube video yoga stress release or bedtime yoga to help you sleep better. And they can be 7, 8, 9, 10-minute videos that just calm down your nervous system.
There is another one that you can do, a relaxation technique where you like tense your muscles really, really, really tight and then hold them and then relax. And you can do your whole body. We learned about this trying to make going to sleep easier and rest your body. And you start at your toes and you clench your toes and then hold them and then relax. And then you do your feet and your ankles and you have to really pay attention to your muscles in ways that you don't pay attention. And then you work your whole body up, all the way up your body, your shoulders, your arms, your stomach, everything, like try to focus on every single muscle. And then you get to your head and you even do it with your scalp and like with your face. I'm sure you look funny laying in the bed when you're really tense and then relaxing, but it's actually very amazing how much more relaxed you feel after you've gone through this whole process process with your body, because when you tense it up and then you relax it and you do your whole body going through it, you feel it on a whole nother level. And very deep breaths. Yes. I tell myself when I get upset, when I'm frustrated, or I tell my kids, breathe deeply. And it doesn't have to be the box breathing, just breathe deep, get oxygen. I say, get oxygen in your blood, get oxygen in your muscles, get oxygen, take the deep, deep breaths and water. Any other physical ones that you guys can think of?
I think for my kids, sometimes we would turn on the music and just have a dance party, just something to get them going. You're spending time together. It just got the energy out, especially on the snowy days. Or sometimes I'd say, okay, let's go outside. Snowy days, we'll shovel. But then it turned into a snow fight or things like that.
Oh, you're saying fun. You're saying
Yes,
having
have some
fun.
fun. It lightens the mood and it helps you remember. But I liked what all you were saying too about being present in the moment. All that breathing and that tensing reminds you that you're alive. This is a gift. You have this body, you have these abilities, and we are a whole bodied being. We matter physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And that's all wrapped up. You can't separate any one of those things from who we are. Having fun is going to lift off some of the emotional and mental strain. You know, having a plan, we talked about that a little with cooking, but the thing is sure, you have to think ahead of time, but it takes off more stress later. So sometimes those plans work ahead. Those would be even conversations I'd have with my kids at the table of, okay, what's for dinner for the next week? They get to help plan. So I know that's not the physical, but it's meeting a physical need and takes some of the stress off and doing it together with friends. That's great, Kim. We had some friends, we did that too.
That's good.
Traded meals.
Yeah, it really helps.
I've made meals when people are sick or having a surgery or something like that, but I've never done a meal exchange. And I think it sounds fantastic. I feel like I'm really missing out.
It broadens your experience. And we used to have there was something called Let's Dish. So you could actually go to a kitchen, you'd pick which meals you want, and everything you need is right there. So you pre-make all the meals and then you take them home to freeze them. So that was 12 meals. And we'd go do it as a girls' night. So we'd all go home with all these meals, but they were based upon what your family would eat. And you're putting them together, but everything's right there in front of you. So you're not even planning ahead with, oh my gosh, I have to make sure I have all these ingredients and all these things.
Yeah.
Is that still a thing, or do they go to business?
That I don't know, because that was when I was in the Northern Virginia area. I haven't checked out here.
I wish I was there and friends with you when that was happening. That's fantastic.
Gardening's another idea. You know, you think yard work, oh, it's awful. But honestly, again, making it fun. What would you like to grow? What's your favorite thing to grow? You know, or maybe it's flowers, or maybe it's a vegetable or whatever, but having fun with that. And speaking of having fun, telling jokes, practice telling knock-knock jokes. And when your kids are little, what actually is a joke? You know, what's funny, what's just not.
What's a dad joke?
Yes, that too.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, this is the lesson that I missed. Funny and what's not. My life makes so much more sense now. We
I think
have
it's
dad jokes
important.
books and they're awesome.
I think it's important to not take yourself too seriously, to remind yourself of that and to just lean into this stage of life. Michelle, I think you said early on something about rhythms, and I think it really, truly, you find your rhythm for whatever stage of life that you're in, because when you have littles, or maybe you're pregnant with a bunch of littles, that's a whole different thing from having teenagers. You know, the middle is sort of the sweet spot when you've got second or third grade through maybe sixth or seventh or something like that. But those early years and the later years get a little bit more complicated. And so I think having a sense of humor and leaning into it and like, this is our life and we're going to enjoy it and go with it.
Mine was some of the toddler to teen. So I don't know if I ever kind of hit that sweet spot. When they were all home together, that was easier. As they hit high school, I think I'm still trying to catch up and find my rhythm, especially having adult children and children at home and some heading off to college. How do I do this? I remember thinking, I don't know how to play anymore. You know, get down on the floor and play with my youngest. He also had different benefits that the oldest didn't have by having other siblings in the house. So it's utilizing the physical presence, right, of your other kids as well, because they can help keep each other busy and engaged. And we have one who was always great with the riddles. We'd have nights where there would be riddles and we're all working hard to figure it out. But of course, she knows all the answers. Or she makes them up. I don't know.
And games too, I think are fun. Yard games or table games, board games, card games, things like that.
You know, games are so great. Besides there being a lot of educational games, when I'm saying this from a perspective of a mom of 3 boys, like it's a great way for them to take their aggression out on each other in an okay way. Like when they're conquering each other's lands and risks, you know, that's the safe way to, like, you made me mad at lunch, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to circle around here strategically and take your property. Like it's a good outlet in a healthy way to have some fun
That's
and
true.
deal with feeling.
And that's another community building one too, is have game night so that you're feeding that social, that emotional coping along with the physical needing each other. But even the more challenging ones, to think on something different than school is helpful. To read a book for fun, to go gardening, to take walks, explore a new hobby, whether it's crafting or photography or cooking. Don't forget your own individual personhood in the motherhood and in the homeschooling, that you have interests, and your kids will sometimes come alongside those, or they'll learn that it's okay to have their own hobbies.
I love that.
What a
And sometimes you schedule it. I have a white spot on my calendar, and that is my day. You plan and don't let anything intrude on that. And other times you get to be spontaneous, and whatever that looks like for you is okay.
So I have a question on that. I want to know what you think. What do you say to the mom who is so vested and wrapped up in all the mom things, all the different hats that we wear? We've talked about this a little bit before. You know, you're the homeschool mom, and you're the chauffeur, and you're the cook, and you're the cleaner, and you're the maid, and you're the financial officer, and you're a lot of times an employee or a small business owner or all of these things. And she's lost sight of who she is without all of those responsibilities. And she gets such little free time that when it comes down to it, and she has that little block of window where she's scheduled the day off, she's like, I don't have any hobbies. I don't know what to do. I can't go sit at a coffee shop all day long. I don't want to go shopping because money's tight. I mean, that's a thing. That's a real thing, I think, for some moms. Well, how do you find a hobby? How do you find your interests when you give everything of yourself all day long, every day, and you never get a break? What's left? How do you rediscover that?
Really
I think
good
some of
question.
it is, what part of all of those things do you enjoy the most, right? That you don't get time for. I found I was never much of into the crafts when I was young. I was an athlete, but when I had kids and it was things that kept them busy, but also learning, I made a lot of their own learning educational games. It kind of fed I'm taking care of my children and I'm investing in their education, but it also fed that crafting side and that creative side that I didn't realize I had really until I had kids. So I think sometimes you have to find which part of it, of your typical job, do you enjoy most as being a mom and taking care of your family, because it can be exploring different foods or different things to learn about. So you start to discover who you are and what kind of things you love, whether it's through different podcasts, because they're all, I mean, they're on every topic now, and you can listen to a few of those while you're cooking. You have to get back to, who am I as a person and what do I enjoy about what I do?
Or remembering who you were before. What did I used to like? Or what just simply is comforting in the moment? This probably kind of sounds silly, but sometimes I would just take myself out to lunch and read a book. I don't have a problem sitting by myself in a restaurant and reading a book and having lunch, just to kind of just have that sort of downtime. It probably depends a lot, don't you think, on who you are as a person. Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? It's going to be different for everybody, I think. Some days I would go to Walmart, push the cart around the store, and just look at what's on the shelves. I mean, it sounds kind of ridiculous, but just walking and just sort of zoning out, and I didn't even really need to buy anything, just kind of having a place where I could walk, and particularly if it's cold outside, in Colorado, and just zone out and just relax my brain a little bit until I could just let everything sort of settle down also in my mind, and then go, okay, I feel a little bit more relaxed. I can think again, get back to work. Probably sounds kind of silly, but it worked for me.
I don't think it sounds silly, especially when we can get through a grocery store without thinking about it because we know it so well. You can just kind of go on autopilot and go around.
I think most moms struggle with this, and it's compounded for homeschool moms, that most moms give and give and give and give and give to everyone around us, our kids, our spouses, our employers, our friends, and it's super easy to lose ourselves in the process. I don't know if I honestly have a good answer for how to fix it or find yourself, but I do think one thing that I would think about, I would say, okay, I would daydream, right? If I had a day, if I had an hour, if I had 5 minutes to myself, what would I do? And just to think really quick, what comes up first? What's first in my head? And that's generally the thing that I really would want to do, whether it was read a book. I would love to daydream about going to the beach. I think take a vacation is something we haven't said, but of course that takes time and finances. But at the moment, what do I need right now? For me, take a walk, read a book, call a friend, schedule time for that. Maybe that Bible study that I've missed for the last 3 weeks because I've just been so busy, or that friend that I haven't talked to in a while, but I know she's struggling too. So maybe I need to be a friend and receive a friend. It's really hard. I think it takes a lot of looking inside when you're in the throes of homeschool motherhood.
It's intense.
It's very intense. That's why I said I don't think I have a good answer. I think we're all still growing in each season.
Like you were saying, Stacey, when you're daydreaming, if I had 5 minutes or if I had an hour, what would I do? Or what is fun? Because you do kind of forget when you're in the middle, in the thick of things, and then something comes to mind. Oh, I wish I had half an hour to do da da da, whatever it is. And
Write it down.
I have a place where I actually write it down.
It's a great idea.
Come back to it later.
Yeah, I've never done that. I think I'm going to start doing that because it's a visual reminder, right? To prioritize yourself.
Yeah.
And to realize that feeding yourself is not taking away from anybody else.
Oh my
You
goodness.
can do both.
The whole you can't pour from an empty cup analogy. Oh, so true.
But so hard, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I hate people saying, take a break, take care of yourself. Sure. Do you want to see my to-do list?
Honestly.
How hard it is to come back from it if you do take a break.
Yeah.
Right.
And how much is there waiting for you that you need to get done. And now you're twice as overwhelmed.
Definitely have to take that into account. You always do.
Well, I think another time, Stacey, you had said something about we need to remember that we're in seasons and that they actually grow up pretty fast. And so sometimes it's taking that time to do the breathing or the different things to recenter yourself, whether it's through prayer, meditation, the breathing techniques, or a dance party, right? To remind yourself that what do you love about your life right now? What do you love about these children right now? What is special? And go through, it's practicing the attitude of gratitude. What are you grateful for each person in your life, in your home? And even what are you enjoying about yourself? What are you enjoying that you're learning? Sometimes you have to do that mental shift as well and make sure you're talking to yourself kindly. Sometimes we're just so harsh to ourselves when we would never talk to our friend that way or even our child that way. And so we've got to take a step back and talk to ourselves like we're a good friend and help minister to ourselves in that way so that we can take the deep breath and recenter on the moment we're really blessed. We're super blessed with what we have in front of us, even though we can't always see it. We used to do the rose, the bud, and the thorn. Have you guys heard of that? Where what's your rose? What was your good thing in the day? What's your bud? What are you looking forward to tomorrow? Or what's your thorn? What was the hard thing today? So they can process and do it together. Of course, now that I have teenagers, they prefer what's your happy and what's your crappy. But
We used to do sweet and sour and thankful.
okay.
What was your sweet? What was your sour? And what are you thankful for? They won't do it now. I try and they won't have, and I'm going to say, what's your happy? What's your crappy? I bet they'll do it. I'm going to keep you
Teenagers.
posted. On that note, though, I want to say that's so true as far as your mental state of Thanksgiving, because it's impossible to be grumpy, thankful at the same time, or at least angry and thankful. And my husband and I have gone through our ups and downs. And a counselor at one point told me, he said, you need to write a list of everything that you're thankful about for your husband. And I was so mad at him. I'm like, I can't do that. He was like, you need to write a list of everything you're thankful for about your husband. I was like, I'm not doing that. You need to write, and he just was so gentle and patient with me. He's like, you have to do this. And it changed everything when I did that. I mean, it didn't fix everything. I'm not telling you anything was fixed, but it changed me as far as how I viewed things. I don't have time for a thankfulness journal. I'm not going to tell anybody to do that. I've heard people do it. I've heard it works wonders. I've heard it's a really great thing. If you can do it, more power to you, go for it. But I just had to change that mindset in myself and to look around my house, look around my life and think, how different could my life be? And what do I have to be thankful for? And when I looked at it like that, it was like, oh my gosh, I have so much to be thankful for. Not that we've ever had a lot of money or, had expensive cars. I'm not talking about that kind of stuff. I'm talking about the opportunities to be with my children every day and watch them grow and to be able to have the conversations. It can be simple things. It doesn't have to be big things. Thankful for what the wind sounds like as it goes through the leaves of the aspen trees, things like that. Tiny little moments and stopping myself, being thankful when I'm doing the dishes that I don't want to do and I'm tired of doing the dishes, to look at the colors in the soap bubbles and the way the warm water feels on my hands, and to be thankful that I can do dishes in a sink with running water and a dishwasher that I can load it into, things like that. I think that is a really big deal. On the mental side of it, is of how you view things and the way you, like you said, how you speak to yourself. This is one thing that came up when you said that I definitely wanted to say. I had a really, really hard childhood, not a lot of great things. And I definitely have some attachment issues as an adult. I don't know if it's an attachment disorder, but there's some attachment stuff there. It's been very hard as a mom to realize the deficits in my own childhood now that I have kids, and to realize really how bad things were that I didn't understand, that I had grown up minimizing, just to think, oh, that's normal. And when it's really not normal. And it was very, very detrimental to me and my growth and my development and my mental state. And what I had to learn, and what I would really encourage people to do, this is why I'm sharing it, because it's not an easy thing to share, is think about and accept the hurts that you've had, whether it was in your childhood or whether it's from a spouse or from friends or from whatever, anything in your life that's hurt you, and talk to yourself the way you would talk to your own child, and how you would comfort your own child and encourage your own child. Because it's really easy as moms for us to be encouraging to our children. There's a maternal instinct in there. Nobody had to teach me how to love my children. Nobody had to teach me how to be unconditionally here from them. Nobody had to teach me not to say hateful things to my children. When I started saying, take care of yourself and talk to your own self like a mother would talk to her child, things kind of started to change for me a little bit. If we can be honest and vulnerable enough with ourselves to recognize the hurt that we've experienced and to know that it's legitimate, don't minimize the things that have happened and the reason why you feel the way you feel, and take an honest account. Like, it's when I say it's okay to not be okay, that's a really big deal. It's okay to say, I feel so depressed right now. I don't feel how I can go on, but I need to go on. It's okay to say, I don't want to, but I have these kids that I want to be here for, and I'm going to make this happen even though it doesn't feel like I can. It's okay to say, I don't feel like I can get out of bed, but I'm just going to do it anyway because I have to keep moving forward and put one foot in front of the other. What I've dealt with depression, I mean, there's been very, 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 very dark days. And there's been points where I've just had to say, okay, it's going to be one of those days. Now I'm going to put my big girl pants on. I'm going to go downstairs or go see my kids. I'm going to make them breakfast and we're going to hang out and we're going to read stories and we're going to do the things that we do. I'm just going to feel sad today and it's okay. And it's just going to be a day like that. And maybe this day is going to go on for a week. Maybe it's going to go on for 6 months. Maybe this is going to go on for a year, but every day I'm going to do it and I'm going to love my kids and they're going to be here and we're going to grow together and we're going to share life together. And it's hard. And that's I don't want to say it's a game. It's not a game, but speaking truth to yourself and making the decision to do the right things and to move forward and not let it get the best of you is one of my biggest coping strategies. I fully believe people, if they struggle with depression, I feel like you should go to the doctor and talk to somebody and see what you need help with. I could never take medication. If I tried to take medication, I had bad reactions to it. I couldn't do it. Supplements, you get blood work done. See, this is part of the physical thing. If you're low on vitamin D, if you're low, vitamin B is a really big deal. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to tell you what supplements you need, but look into it. Get with somebody who can help you look at what your body needs and what can help you, because those things make a big deal too. So
That's
I don't
huge,
know.
Colleen. I mean, thank you for sharing all of that, because that's huge. And I think that we don't talk about things like that enough. Mental health is so important to talk about. I mean, especially I think it came up so much in the post-COVID world, all that kind of stuff. We saw our kids struggle, we struggled. It's very important to talk about. So thank you so much for bringing that up.
I mean, it feels like there's a lot of shame in it, but there shouldn't be shame in it.
No, not at all. those are good coping techniques that you have too. And they take a lot of courage, a lot of inner resilience. It is tough, but I think acknowledging that and you're leaning into it and saying, okay, this is how it is. Okay, this is how it is. And just taking the next step, doing the next right thing. That's huge.
And looking at your kids, I mean, look at your babies. They're counting on you. They love you. They need you. Nobody can replace somebody's mother. There's no replacement. There was this thing I heard one time. I don't even know where I heard it, but it was something along the lines of a mother, someone who can fill the shoes of everybody else in somebody's life. They can be a friend. They can be a coach. They can be a teacher. They can be, a cheerleader. Like the moms can do all the jobs, but there's no one who can replace the mom. Cope, keep fighting to cope because your babies need you and they love you and they're looking to you.
I have this sign over my washing machine and it says, "Today I will be thankful for all the tiny socks and the grass stained jeans because one day this basket will be empty and these days will be sorely missed." And when I looked at that when they were little, I focused on the tiny socks at the grass stained jeans. And now that they're big, I focus more on the soon to be empty basket. And it brings up thankfulness again, right? Thankful that I had all these years to homeschool them and love on them and to grow this relationship that now we can have this new relationship as they go into adulthood and we like each other. We love each other, but we like each other. It's just a wonderful blessing to focus in those early years to be able to homeschool them. And you have your own struggles. We all do, but being able to cope, like we're talking about tonight, being able to reach out for help when you need, maybe a counselor, a pastor, a doctor, just being able to meet your own needs so you can meet your children's needs. It's a wonderful blessing.
There's one thing I want to add when you just said counselor, it's true. Have you guys heard of EMDR?
Yes.
It is phenomenal. If you have trauma in your life, and it doesn't have to be, it's any level of trauma. If you've had trauma in your life and you're having a hard time, if it comes back and gets you, if it just it's unsettling inside of you, find somebody, a good EMDR practitioner, because it is a game changer. It can change your entire life. It's amazing, but find a good one. Read a lot of reviews and learn about EMDR. Don't do it with somebody on Zoom. You can't do EMDR right and on Zoom. It has to be with somebody in person. That's a good tool. For now, we're going to leave off with part 1 there. We hope you come back next week to check out part 2. We have a lot more to share with you. Thank you for joining us on today's episode. We hope that you enjoyed the conversation and found it insightful. Be sure to check out today's show notes for all applicable links and additional resources. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. Your support helps us continue to bring you great content. Until next time, happy homeschooling.